All right, so in this video, I want to talk again about the bridge to rhythm changes. So in my last video, I talked about mixolydian scales and how when you think about mixolydian scales and you think about the tritone substitutions, there's a lot of options there. That gives you a lot to work with. So next, I want to talk about Lydian dominant scales. And we're going to see that the same thing applies with Lydian dominant scales. It's just gives you a little bit of a different color. And it's actually very similar. So what is a Lydian dominant scale in case you don't know? This is very useful when you have situations, you're improvising over a dominant 7 chord that lasts kind of a long time, especially. So if you have a dominant 7 chord and you're sitting on it for, a bar or 2 bars, you can do a Lydian dominant scale. So what is that? So it's just like a mixed Lydian scale, but with a raised 4. Or you could think of it as a Lydian scale with a flat 7. However is easiest for you to think about it. So Lydian dominant scale, so over this D7. So actually it's a mode of the melodic minor scale. It's like an A melodic minor. So all these different ways you can think of it. But really what it is it's like, think about you're playing a mixolydian scale and you have this like sharp 11 sound. You want to play that sharp 4, that sharp 11 sound. So that's really what it is. You have a flat 7, you have a raised 4. Those are the main components. So that's the mix. This augmented triad is a little bit distinctive because you don't get that in a major scale or any of the major scale modes. So now let's just talk about what we talked about in the last video with mixolydian scales and apply the same thing. So we have kind of 2 options that I'll talk about. There's all different combinations that you can play around with. So first option is you can just play those Lydian dominant scales. That's the G Lydian dominant. And then the C Lydian dominant. So you can just play the Lydian dominant scale of each chord. That's totally one option. Another option that you can do is you can start doing tritone substitutions. So if you play, let's say, a D Lydian dominant scale over that first chord, and then you just slide down a half step, now you're playing the Lydian dominant scale of the tritone substitution of the G7 chord, which is actually, there's a name for that. It's called an altered scale. That's an altered scale. It's a scale that you can use over a dominant 7 chord when you want a really tense sound, because you got a flat 9 in there, you got a sharp 9 in there. So now let's say we slide back down another half step. Well, now we're matching right up with the next chord, which is a C7. So now we're just playing the C Lydian dominant. And now for that F7, we can just slide down another half step, and now we're doing the F altered. We're doing the Lydian dominant of the tritone substitute of F, which is B. But it's an F altered scale. So that gives you 2 different options. You can just play the Lydian dominant of each chord, or you can go Lydian altered, or any other altered, altered Lydian, whatever combination you feel like doing. But on the guitar, it's kind of easy just to slide down by half steps. So something to, if you're a guitar player, something to think about. So I'll just demonstrate those 2 one more time. So just the Lydian dominance. And then using the Lydian dominant altered. In other words, just sliding down half steps. And we're back to B flat. So that's it. So that's between your mixed Lydian scales and your Lydian dominant scales and your tritone substitutions. That gives you many, many different options to work with. And there are other things that you can do too. So, but I think I'll just leave it at that for now. And we'll wrap up this series here on the on rhythm changes.